Yes. All right. So I've got some kind of good news. Um, so I've been kind of working on this storyboard. I've really gone outside of the format that I wanted, which my format was the event, then the pre-event, then the post-event. And I've gone outside of that format because it's putting too much constraints on me, and I just want to be able to speak more freely. But I'm still going to do this. I'm still going to do the post event. You know, I've already semi-accomplished the event and the pre-event, and now I plan on semi-accomplishing the post event. But it's putting too much constraint on me, and I want to just be able to speak freely. You know, like drive out to the magic circle in the desert and take video showing like, look, and like talking about what is a magic circle. Like a magic circle is totally directly tied to all this witch shit. Like this witchy, it's just witch. You know, listen to the song the Eagles song "Witchy Woman." Like, there's a reason these people are putting this shit out there. It's not just a catchy tune. You know, unfortunately. You know. So anyway, so you know, I've been just kind of speaking more loosely. Then like something will come up, like this chick just shows up here, and it's like, fuck, here we go. These are the people I'm trying to keep a low profile and not have them around me, but I can see already that this is it's going to be very difficult to keep a low profile in this town. My name is a very memorable name. It's not like, my name isn't John or Joe or Mark or Mike. My name is not a common name, therefore my name is more memorable. So, you know, I mean, there's just all these things that are going to make it really challenging for me to keep a low profile in this town while I am here temporarily. But while I am in this town, I can drive out to the magic circle. I can drive to the fire scene where the fire happened. So anyways, so I just got off the phone with this guy, and the guy lives a half a block from where everything went down, where I was living in the fire, boom, burnt down a 4-bedroom house and an RV and a storage building. He lives a half a block up, okay, from where I lived, where all that happened. And he's lived there for like 12 years. And then another half a block up for him is where Todd Minshaw and Sheila lived. Todd Minshaw, the guy that died. And so he knew Todd Minshaw and Sheila, okay? And I just got off the phone with him, and he's willing to do an interview. So it's going to be a really loose interview. It's not going to be like all professional and shit. I imagine when I do it, I'm just going to like set the camera over here where I don't know exactly. I have to have the camera close enough to where it'll pick up what he's saying. I'm not sure exactly, but I'm just going to improvise. But nonetheless, and it might even be tomorrow that I interview him. And so the guy's lived here for 12 years. He's run for sheriff here. He's seen a lot of corruption. He's been involved in all the most controversial shit that's took place in Quartzsite or this town in the last 15 years. He's been the center of. If you're really curious, I can I put up the trailer for the documentary on this town. It's called Big Trouble in Little Quartzsite, and he's one of the main people in the documentary. And the documentary, if you look at that video, see, I'm posting this shit for a reason. If you watch it, it's only like a 3.5 minute video. It's a trailer for a documentary about this town and all the insane fucked up shit that goes on in this town. And all these people in this documentary, they're all whistleblowers that are trying and have been trying to expose all this shit that goes on in this town. Now, of course, it doesn't get into witchcraft and Satanism and stuff, although it should, of course. Most of them people, they don't even know that it's tied to witchcraft and Freemasonry and Illuminati. They have no idea. Most people don't. Most people, it wouldn't even cross their mind. And I'm one of them. The only reason that it is on my radar now is because of what happened to me. but I can't get nobody to believe me because it involves witchcraft and all this shit, right? So, but nonetheless, you got and what the main points of the scandal that the trailer illustrates is death threats, murder, and arson, which is just coincidentally exactly what I'm talking about with my story. Todd Minshall's murder and how I got sucked into it because my fucking psycho ex was involved in it and the other people. And then the death threat put out on me because I'm threatening to expose them. And then the arson, burning all the shit down to reinforce the death threat, as well as getting rid of any and all potential evidence that could be in there, because my psycho ex lived with me and she was directly involved in everything that had to do with Todd Minshall's death. She was under investigation, supposedly. And so this guy that I want to interview, he has a lot to say about it. And I didn't end up talking to him until about 2 or 3 months after the event had already happened. And so when I ask him questions, it's going to be things that I haven't really asked him yet that I'm curious about. Like when the fire happened, it was only a half a block from where he lives. And he has to have figured out that that was me and my psycho ex that all that happened. And so I'm going to be asking him, what were your initial thoughts when you heard about the fire? Like, you know, I want to ask him questions to really, because it's important information to me what he thought. Because if he thought that it was arson, and that's 2 months before I ever even met him, well then, you know, there you go, you know, like, so, and this guy, I know I seem crazy and paranoid, which I am. I'm crazy and I am paranoid and all this. And I've always been this way. Like, this is like my personality. Like, I've played in bands where I wear a giant 8-foot penis costume. You know, I played with bands called Anal Cunt, The Mentor. Like, this is just part of who I am. I'm not ashamed of it at all. Like, I don't have any shame in any of that. But this guy is completely different than me. This guy is like a, you know, very practical type person. Everything is like more like practical. He's a, you know, whereas I'm like, I'm a nut, you know. If I have a chance, I am gonna join a band where I can wear a giant fucking 8-foot penis costume and try to piss people off and offend people. That's just what I do. He's not like that, you know. But everybody's crazy, so whatever. And I'm not saying he's like a you know, poster child of mental health or anything, but you know, you got to give a guy credit that will run for sheriff, and you'll see his thing posted all over the place. You'll see his you know, his sheriff fucking what do you call those signs all over town. I mean, you got to have some kind of thing going on to be able to pull off running for sheriff. And his whole point for running for sheriff and getting involved in all that stuff is because there's so much corruption here, and he's one of few people that has ever stood up to it. Most people here are too scared, or it's too inconvenient for them, and so they just go along with all this. Just like the country, the way the country is run and the world is run. There are few people who will stand up to this shit and just say, no, fuck you, I'm not taking your shit. I'm not taking any more of your fucking shit. You're going to have to fucking kill me. Fuck you, you know? And that's where we're creeping ever slowly, more and more in that direction, where people are going to no longer be able to ride the fence. They're going to have to, the line is getting drawn more and more as years go by. More and more the line is getting drawn, and eventually people are going to have to decide which side of the line do they stand. And this guy that I'm going to interview, this is a guy that is not taking shit. And he's not a Trumper, believe it or not. He's not a liberal, but he's not a Trumper. But anyways, it's exciting. It's kind of exciting news. It's like kind of a break. Because, again, I'm doing this by myself, and I really don't have anybody, you know. And so this guy is willing to just talk about his thoughts on when it happened. and it's in right close proximity to him. Todd Minshall, the guy that died, lived a half a block up from him, and where I lived, where I got the death threat and the fucking arson and everything burnt down, and everything involving this psycho chick, I just lived a half a block up from him. I met him one time. And I'll tell you how I met him. Because I keep to myself, I just keep to myself, especially when I got with her, I don't want to be out and about carousing the town, like, I have no reason to. I'm the type of person who is faithful. Like if I'm with some chick, I like tradition. I like to be faithful to a chick if I'm with her, and really try to develop a healthy relationship and stuff, and so I just kind of keep to myself. Well, one day a bunch of gunshots were going off right across the street, and it was so close that I dropped to the ground. Okay, I'm like, what the fuck, right? And so then it stopped, and it was like 6. It was like pow, 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 or something like that. And I'm like dropping to the ground, like whoa. Okay. Then like a week later, the same exact thing in the same area, like right across the street, pow, 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 pow. And so this time, at first I dropped to the ground, but then after I realized that the fire was there, it had stopped, I got up and I fucking walked straight out there. I'm like, what in the fuck is going right? And then I looked down the street and I could see other people walking. They're out on the street, like looking, but it was right across the street from me. And then I look and I see this guy right across the street. He's like on the other side, like standing at the fence, and he's talking to somebody else. And so I walk up there and I'm like, what the fuck is going on, man? And he turns and he looks at me, and he immediately, looking right in my eyes, introduces himself and puts his hand out. And that is rare. That a person will not only look you in the eyes is rare, but then they'll introduce himself and say, hey, my name is blah, blah, right? And then I immediately was like, hey, what's up? My name is, Angry Hobo or whatever. My name, maybe one day I'll tell you my name. Who fucking cares? My name's John. Hi, my name's John, And we've just both made direct eye contact, firm handshake, and then we started talking like, what in the fuck is this bullshit going on over here, right? And then after we're done talking, he's like, well, hey, I just live right here. And I'm like, oh, cool. Well, I just live right there. And he's like, yeah. He's like, hey, come by anytime. If you want to come by, that's where I'm at. Just come knock on the door. And I said, hey, likewise, bro. Anytime, man. Come by. That's the only time I ever met him and talked to him. And then several months later is when the event, boom, fire, everything. And then it was like 2 or 3 months probably after the fire and everything, I went over and talked to him. And the reason I went and talked to him is because I watched that trailer for that documentary about all the corruption in this town. And I had met him, and one of my friends knew him. So I was talking with one of my friends. I was like, dude, I watched that trailer, man. And it's crazy because it relates so much with what happened to me. And I saw bro in that trailer. You know him, right? And he's like, yeah, he's fucking cool. That guy's cool. And I'm like, dude, I really want to go talk to him see what he knows and shit. And my friend's like, bro, you should just go over there and talk to him. I'm like, really? He wouldn't care if I just showed up? He's like, no, man, he's super fucking cool. Go over there. You should go fucking talk to him. So I'm like, fuck it. So like a day or two later, I drove by and there he was right there. So I pulled over and I was like, dude, what's up? You remember me? I live right down there. He's like, yeah. And then it's like, yeah, that was my fucking place. They got burnt fucking down. And then we had a long talk, and we've stayed in contact ever since. He has a lot of inside information because he knows a lot of the cops, a lot of the former cops that used to work here that got driven out of town for doing their job, etc., etc. He knows Todd, the guy that died. He knew him. He knew all that. He way more of a pulse on that corner that Todd Minshall lived than I at all. and my Psycho X was going hanging out over there all the time. So very interesting. And anyway, so I think probably tomorrow, if I can pull it off, we'll get them. I'll interview him tomorrow. I got off the phone with him. I asked him if he wouldn't mind doing it, and then he's like, sure, you know. So, so I'm gonna see if I can pull that off tomorrow. If not, it'll be soon. But it's just an update. Good, some good. Finally, like something like kind of, you know, a little bit of a break in trying to, you know, connect the dots and piece this puzzle together. And like I said, this guy knows some shit. This guy ain't no fucking joke, man. So anyways, it'll be, I mean, I don't want to put him on a pedestal, but at the same time, like, this is a credible source. This is not just somebody who's going to be pulling out, exaggerating and all this other stuff. No, he's just going to tell what he saw, what he thought, what he experienced, etc., etc. And so it'll be good. Either way, it'll be good. And so we'll see. Anyways, I just want to give that update.